Hello everyone, and welcome to the first installment of Monthly Witchcraft. My name is Robyn. You might recognize me as a tired witch, or you may recognize my voice from the Coffee and Cauldrons podcast. Today I'm here to talk to you about Samhain. Now, if you've never heard somebody pronounce the word Samhain, you might have thought it was pronounced Samhain or something like that in English. However, it's a Gaelic word that represents, or directly means, the end of summer, or the end of the harvest. The Pagan Wheel of the Year, Samhain included, all revolves around the harvest, whether that's planting seeds, or tending the fields, whatever part of the year we're in that is directly relative to that. Now, you yourself may not be out in the fields harvesting crops during Samhain, but that doesn't change the fact that this phase of the year still pertains to you. Now, Samhain marks the Pagan New Year. The reason that we view Samhain as the Pagan New Year is because as the harvest ends, the New Year begins. Because this Wheel of the Year follows the harvest season, the end of harvest season would make perfect sense for the new year to begin. Historically speaking, Samhain would have been the time of the year that our ancestors were preparing grains and other dry goods to see them through winter, as well as slaughtering animals that they had been raising all year to make into cured meats or whatever they were going to make with it. Because Samhain is the time of year that we decide to shut down everything we've worked on and kind of start getting ready to bunker in for winter, it's a good time for reflection. Think of it like setting New Year's resolutions like you would in the regular calendar year. The same sort of energy you want to bring into Samhain. So it's a time to reflect on the year behind and the year ahead. Because Samhain works so closely with things coming to an end, it also correlates very heavily on death. We see this reflected in the season in a lot of ways, from autumnal leaves making an appearance, grass dying, and animals kind of going into hibernation. The livelihood and the hustle and bustle that we perhaps saw in spring is now no longer there. Because Samhain deals so heavily in death, then comes in the theme of ancestor work. Samhain is a great time to appreciate those we have lost in the year behind, the year we have left behind, as well as our ancestors that are around us all year round. Now, I know you might have seen a running theme with Samhain with many other holidays, such as Halloween, All Saints' Day, Dia de los Muertos. They all fall at the same time, more or less. And that's because this is the time of year that is kind of universal throughout all cultures, which is that the harvest ends. With the harvest ending and with these holidays all lining up, there's one common theme, and that's spirits, the dead, and basically just anything that we've lost. A lot of pagans and witches, therefore, view Samhain and just this general time of the year as a time at which the veil thins between our world and the spirit world. This is a good time to focus in on work of divination and getting messages from guides. This can come in a lot of different forms, such as guided meditation, automatic writing, tarot, pendulum work, tassemancy, kind of you name it. This is a great time to start dipping your toes in divination or guide messages from guides that maybe you hadn't already been working with. If you have already been working with them, this is a good time to really rev that up. That being said, I'm not trying to recommend any beginner to go out and get a Ouija board and dabble in things that maybe are a little bit beyond a beginner level practice. So start with things that are safe: pendulum work, automatic writing, tarot cards, tassemancy. These are all things that are already within yourself, and you're just opening yourself up to the possibility to listen to extra messages from guides. Moving on, we're going to talk about decorating for Samhain. Whether that is decorating your altar, decorating your home, whatever your sacred space is, it's really kind of dependent on you. Samhain, because it follows along with autumn and Halloween, there are very clear and defined ways to decorate that you probably already do. Things like jack-o'-lanterns, for example, or horns of plenty are very commonplace decorations during this time. Because Samhain focuses on our gratitude for the harvest and our bounty, you might use imagery and themes that one would see in the American Thanksgiving. Although they're vastly different holidays, it's still the same kind of energy. We're looking at gratitude, we're looking at bounty and the harvest and autumnal colors, autumn leaves, anything orange, gourdy, pumpkin-y. I mean, you name it, you're pretty much nailing it. If you're somebody who likes to leave flower offerings at your altar, I recommend using marigold at this time. Marigold is not only a beautiful autumnal flower, but it's one that is associated with our heightened psychic intuition. This could be mirroring the messages from our guides like we talked about earlier. Marigold is a flower that is highly associated with Dia de los Muertos and is used as kind of a trail. You take the petals and use it as a trail to guide the spirits to the ofrenda. You probably aren't going to do that. However, you can still hone in that energy by leaving beautiful marigolds at your altar or putting them around your home. You can use these amazing kind of veil barrier flowers to decorate your home in a beautiful way and leave a beautiful offering. Now, I personally wouldn't decorate my altar with tiny little skeletons and ghouls like it's Halloween, but you can still bring that sort of energy that reminds us of death and loss to our altar in a way that's maybe a little less kitschy. I would use things like dried or dead flowers. You can use scythes or scythe imagery, or even skulls that are done in a more respectful way. It's kind of dependent on you and what you feel is appropriate for your space, and the real thing is that no two witches are going to do their spaces the same. So listen to your intuition and decorate accordingly. A final thing that I would recommend during this time is making an ancestor altar. Now, you might be somebody who already has several altars for several purposes, or you might be somebody who maintains a single altar. Neither option is the wrong option. But during this time, making a separate altar that is just for loved ones that have passed on is a really appropriate thing to do. You'd add things like photographs of the loved ones and offerings that are appropriate towards that person. So, for example, if your grandfather really liked a glass of brandy and a cigar, it might be appropriate to set both those things down with a photo of him. It doesn't need to be somebody who is a blood kin either. So, our ancestors, in my opinion at least, come from people that we feel that protect us. So yes, they're probably blood kin, but it could also be somebody that you have known your whole life that you were just really close with, or a best friend, a neighbor, really anybody who was a significant person in your life that you feel is still around and you'd like to know that they're still protecting you. Don't think that just because they're blood that's the limit. It's down to people that you felt close to. Make an altar for them. Now, you guys might have seen that I posted a recipe with my article for this that goes adjacent, and that's for soul cakes. Soul cakes, which look like this, soul cakes, which look like this, are sort of a cross between an American scone, so kind of softer, and the British biscuit. It's crunchy, it's firm, but it's not like break in your mouth biscuit. I would say maybe it's like a French scone, but I've never had one, so I'm not going to remark on that. Soul cakes originated during the medieval times and was a thing very similar to what we view as modern day Halloween. It took place in England during the medieval period, and it would be children going door to door asking for souls, and people would give them cakes. It was a way to celebrate and honor the people that they had lost, and was aligned perfectly with All Saints' Day, a Christian holiday, which, as I'm sure most of us know, a lot of Christian Catholic holidays were original pagan holidays that were adopted. So the reason why this is still an appropriate offering to give during Samhain is because it came from a pagan holiday. Who would have guessed? I know the recipe that I gave is vegan, but you can substitute anything in it that's non-dairy for a dairy option. It doesn't contain egg in it as it is, and so it's a pretty simple substitution. I made it vegan because I'm vegan, and it makes it accessible for everybody, but don't feel like you need to have a dairy-free option if that's not something you're into. Make it work for you. The principle is the same either way, and it's simple Simon. It's great, especially if you'd like to just leave an offering at your altar when you do not want to or don't have an altar for your ancestors. It's kind of a catch-all offering. It's good for all spirits, all souls, and I highly recommend it. Plus, they're super delicious. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is a little ritual that at least I like to do every single year during Samhain, and that is a releasing ritual. It uses fire, so you're going to need something that is safe to burn at. Don't burn your houses down. This can be a cauldron, or a bonfire, fireplace, or just a fireproof dish. Yes, symbolically a cauldron might be the best option, or a bonfire might be the best option, but let's be real, a lot of us live in really metro areas where having a bonfire is completely inaccessible. It's just not going to happen. So instead, start looking for things that can happen. Get a Pyrex bowl or something like that that is oven safe. It's going to be able to withstand a little flame from fire and be totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's fine. What you're going to need is 2 pieces of paper. On one piece of paper, we're going to be writing down all the things from the year past that we're letting go of. Energies that no longer serve us, people that no longer serve us, and just shitty events that we don't like. On the other paper, we're going to write the things that we want to bring into the new year. Whether that's energies from the year past that we'd like to keep up with, or goals, just things we hope to have happen this year. On the paper that has the crappy stuff that we want to get rid of, we're going to take a little moment and we're going to stand over our fire safe dish. We're going to burn it. We're letting it go. You're taking the time to release that energy and say goodbye. I know a lot of us, it's 2020. Goodbye, 2020. You were terrible. Adios. And on the other hand, the paper that we put all of our positive energy on, our goals and our intentions, we're going to put that in an envelope and we're going to put it at our altar, leaving it there for next year. The goal is that next Samhain, when you go to do your next fire release ritual, you get to reflect on the goals that you left for yourself in the year previous. How many of them did you accomplish? What things could you still bring into the next year? It's kind of like setting New Year's resolutions, only with a little bit more purpose and intention. So take some time, write it out, and focus on it. It's fun and it's good for you. Releasing stuff is awesome. I'd like to thank you all for being here for this class with me, and I hope you got something out of it. Samhain is my personal favorite holiday, and I hope that you at least have an enjoyable one for yourself. Happy Samhain, have a great new year, and